it's Sean Brennan, and here is video number 4 in the application series of how to have the quickest and most predictable loan process. What we've got today is a few points about the good faith estimate, the closing statement, closing, getting those keys. First of all, let's talk about the good faith estimate. Now, this is a form that used to be a very helpful form. Everybody used to like the good faith estimate. Hey, get a good faith estimate. You can compare the numbers. Well, a few years ago, the good faith estimate changed dramatically. It's a very confusing form at this point. While there are some numbers on there that are easy to understand, you really have to get walked through it. When you get the good faith estimate at the time of application, feel free to give me a call and we can walk through the different numbers so you can understand what it is you're looking at on this form. Now, the good faith estimate in the past used to show you what all the closing costs were by category, what your total monthly payment was, how much cash you have to bring to close. The good faith estimate doesn't do that now, so what we do is we prepare another statement called the closing cost worksheet. It looks just like the good faith estimate used to look. It shows all the closing costs, it shows the monthly payment, it shows the cash required at closing. It's an easy form to walk through. So we'll prepare that for you as well, in addition to the total cost analysis where you see the totals, which is that video spreadsheet we used at the beginning of the process. Now, when we look at the good faith estimate, there are some specific numbers that we've got to walk you through if you choose, but those numbers translate to the settlement statement at the time of closing. So when the final loan documents get to the escrow company, they're going to take the good faith estimate we started with and look at a few key numbers in there and compare them to make sure that they match with the settlement statement. More than that, though, we review the settlement statement, as does the lender, to make sure that the numbers are correct, that the amount of money you're expecting to bring in at closing is the amount of money you need to bring in at closing. And we do a really good job of making sure that everything matches up with what you're expecting. Now, when you get down to closing, there's a few things you're going to need to do. You're going to need to make an appointment, come and see the escrow officer to sign. You might be signing remotely. We'd have a mobile notary perhaps come, but in most cases you go to the escrow office and sign there. You'll need to have identification, your driver's license typically, to be able to show that you are who you are, because a number of the pages have to be notarized, so they need to confirm your identity before you sign them. Now, when it comes down to the end, you're going to have to get some money to closing as well, and that can be one of a couple different ways. You've already brought in your earnest money, and that's already been cleared. Well, now you're going to have to bring the remainder of your down payment and any closing costs you have to. Now, that money can be brought in the form of a cashier's check, or the money can be wired. You can't just bring in a personal check. You have to bring in a cashier's check, because when that check shows up, the following day, the escrow company is using that to actually do the closing. A personal check would take too long to clear, so they don't typically accept those. Now, you can have the money wired in, as I mentioned, and if you want to go that route, which is very quick and easy, we can get wiring instructions directly to you so that you can forward them to the people at your bank. It's a very simple process. Finally, there's going to be a final audit after you sign the loan documents by the lender when the documents get back to them after signing. But then one other thing that happens right at the end is that we do what they call a credit refresh. We have to check your credit report right at the end to make sure that you haven't applied for any new credit. And we do that by looking for credit inquiries. If you're buying a new house and you think we better go get some appliances, or maybe that new car is going to look good in front of the house, and you went out and got your credit pulled, we're going to find out about it, and that can be a big stumbling block at the end. So make sure that from the time we start the transaction, you do not apply for credit with anybody. Those sales and appliances are still going to be around after you own the home. Do not get your credit checked before closing. Anyway, that's a little bit about the closing process, a little bit about the closing statements and the numbers. If you've got any questions about this or anything else throughout the approval process, feel free to call us and talk to me or someone else on my team at any time.